everybody and welcome to today's video. And in today's video we are doing another tractor tour, and the tractor tour of our Massey Ferguson 265. So I'll just go around here where the light's a bit better. So here is our Massey Ferguson 265. It is obviously two-wheel drive. It's a 1985 model, so the last full year of production at Banny Lane, Coventry, that's where they were made. And this one we've had, I think my dad and my granddad bought it in 1991 roughly, so about 5 years old at the time. It's a local tractor. It originally come from, there was a sticker on one side, oh it's worn away, but it was a dealer called Winston Stevenson. You can just make out where the sticker was, but they were a Massey Ferguson dealer, and I'm pretty sure they bought it off them in about 1991 roughly. And I think it was originally to replace a 165. So its main duties when it come were to cart silage and a silage trailer, but just generally be a yard tractor really. And it's in very original condition. It's got the optional wide tyres on the back. So these are 30, I think they're 32 inch, either 30 or 32 inch wheels, or tyres rather, that are on the back. And, well, nowadays it just spends nearly its entire life sat on the straw chopper. So we normally end up keeping some young stock in over summer, and they obviously need to be bedded up, so it normally stays up on the straw chopper all summer, and then in the winter when the cows are in, it's bedding up more. But yes, that is our Massey Ferguson 265, and yeah, it just basically does our straw chopping. If you've not already worked it out, I'm not a massive 200 series fan. I'm not a big fan of the 200 series. This tractor's alright, don't get me wrong, there's nothing physically wrong with it, but compared with the 300 series, the 300 series was like the next step up, and better, comfier cab, more options on gears, gearboxes, better radio, 40k gearbox. It was just an overall better tractor in my own opinion. But we've still got this tractor, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not going anywhere anytime soon because it's perfectly good for what it's doing. It's perfectly suited to the straw chopper there that it spends nearly its entire life attached to. But yeah, if you haven't already seen, I did a video of a tractor tour of our Massey Ferguson 275 a while ago, a month or two ago roughly, and I'll see if I can link it somewhere if I can, so you can go back and watch that. But I do say in that video that I'm not a big Massey 200 series fan, but they're not a bad tractor. They're just, the 300 series in my own opinion was like a milestone better tractor, just for operator comfort and everything. My own personal preference. There'll be a lot of people out there that prefer the 200 series, but they are a good tractor though, don't get me wrong. Mechanically, we haven't had much wrong with this tractor. So this one has actually had a new front grille put in it recently. That's because I had a bit of an accident with a slurry tanker, and I reversed the slurry tanker into the front of this tractor. Total accident. I put my hands up to that, but it's had a new grille in. So this is actually one of two 265 tractors we've got, because we've actually got another one with a front end loader. Yeah, so we've got another one with a front end loader, probably see that from time to time in my videos, but not very often. I don't really like that tractor, if I'm totally honest with you. But mechanically, they do have their own, you know, wearing parts on them, etc. But they are pretty reliable. They're just not my cup of tea. I'll be totally honest about that. We'll get in the cab and we'll have a look round and see what it's like inside. Right, so we're inside the cab now. So the 265 was powered by a 60 horsepower Perkins A4.236 engine. It's the same engine that what's in a 275 as well. It's just it's slightly, the 275 had like 6 or 7 extra horsepower, whereas this is 6 or 7 horsepower lesser. But apart from that, they're pretty standard inside the cab. Got same radio up here. It does work, this. I do believe they were an optional extra. So I've got cobwebs growing on it, but that's just purely because it doesn't get used. And then this is like air conditioning. Well, it lets fresh air in, air circulation, and that's what that means. And then you got a fan, blower. You got your windscreen wiper, and a rear plough lamp. So you didn't have cab mounted front lights on, which isn't really a problem because we don't really use this tractor in the dark really, but it's not a major problem. But you got your windscreen wiper up there as well. It doesn't have an auto return on. Interior light there, that's actually broken on this tractor. And then you've got your little side windows that open like that for ventilation. But cladding's a bit seen better days in this, I won't lie to you. Been patched up there with some bale tape. Same on this side, it's looking very worse for wear. That's just because you rub on it all the time getting in and out of the cab. But that is Massey Fergie's way of soundproofing the cab. By putting cladding on it, which does work for a certain amount of time, but then it just deteriorates. Like there, you rub your boots on that every time you get in and out, and it obviously wears it away. But we'll have a look at dash. So that's your temperature gauge. You just have to tap it on this one. Must have a faulty loose wire or something. That's your temperature gauge, so that's normal. So you can keep an eye on your oil temperature. Diesel tank, it's nearly full. Then it's pretty similar to the 550. So these tractors were about when were being built similar-ish time to the 500 series. So the dashboard is a very similar design. That I think that's just purely because it makes parts interchangeable. They didn't have to alter anything between series, models of tractor. You can swap and change them. It's not a, if something breaks, it's easy to be replaced. But there's your battery warning light, so it's saying the battery isn't charging, which is true because the engine isn't running. An oil pressure light. The oil pressure light's obviously on because the engine isn't running, so there's no oil pressure. That's why that light's come on. And you've got your rev counter. You can see this has done 6,882 hours, 0.3. So very similar to the 550, near enough identical to the 275. And a warning sticker there, just telling you about your diff lock. Right, so this dashboard is very dusty, and that's purely because of the straw chopping, the job it actually specifically does this tractor, so everywhere just gets covered in dust. That's why one of the reasons why I've actually washed it, because it was a struggle to see through the windows. So I mean, you can tell I've not done the best job in the world of washing the windows, but it's summer, So that's where your fan would come through. It blows your air through up there. And then down here we've got your lights. So you swing this round and that puts your lights on. So that's full beam, that's dip beam, that's side lights, and that's off. Indicators. That's right, that's left, and then you got acid in middle. If we can switch it off. There we go, that's switched off. And then you got your key down here. Then you pull to stop as well. So that stops the fuel flow and it stops the tractor. Then here we've got your gear stick. So unlike the 275, this has got the 8-speed gearbox in. So at the minute it's in high 3, I think. Or was that neutral? That's in neutral actually. High 3. So it's 8 speeds, so you've got 4 gears, and then you've got high and low, and then neutral. And then this down here is where you put your hydraulic oil into the gearbox and back end. So if it runs low in oil or you have to change it or whatever, that pops up, that cover. There's a plug under there, you undo that, and you can put your oil in. You obviously got a brake pedal, clutch, and a throttle there. And then your diff lock is all the way back here. And then you've got your position control here. So that's for your picking your straw chopper or your whatever you've got on the back up and down. It's your plough draft lever. And then this one locks the hydraulics and it allows you to use your trailer tipping pipe. Or like this tractor. This tractor hasn't actually got a oil pipe spool valve, so you pull that and you can spin your straw chopper. But we've taken the back window off this tractor mainly because the straw chopper hits it. So instead of breaking the back window, take it off and it won't get broken. It's not really needed. But you're sat quite high up in here. But yeah, it's a good overall tractor. I mean, this window here though, it's not much use for anything if I'm totally honest with you, because it just collects dirty and collects muck and dust. But and then there's another window down there as well. Although not really much use at the minute. But then down this side you got your handbrake and your PTO. So we'll just have a look around the back of the tractor. So you can see that's where the number plate is. So it's a C-Reg, which means it's a 1985 model. And then if we go down here, it actually doesn't have any spool valves, this tractor. So if it had the spool valves, they would normally be placed, I think it's up this side, for your hydraulic pipes to be connected into, or that side. It's either one or the other. But this tractor's just got a trailer tipping pipe and a return flow, which work the straw chopper, which spin the barrel round and it chops the straw. But it's got the pickle pitch down there as well, below the PTO there. And then it's just got standard 3-point linkage. So that's your plough lamp up there. So it only had one cab light on these tractors. And interestingly, they added different options of cabs on these tractors as well. So this is a GKN Sankey cab. It's probably the better of the lot. But they did have options of Duncan cabs, and early ones had a Cabcraft cab on as well. So the early 265s had just a Cabcraft cab on. And they were the original 200 series. Originally there was two models, a 240 and a 265, and I think they were the only models available. And they were launched in 1979, and they was to replace the original 135. So the 135 had been in production at Banner Lane until, well, they stopped production of the 100 series in 1976 and switched on to the 500 series but they kept making the 135s as far as I'm aware, and the 135s were made for another 3 years, and then they stopped making them and they started making the 240 and 265, which replaced. They were supposed to be the line up after the 100 series, because these were based more on the 100 series more than the 500 series, if that makes sense. So the 500 series were like a higher spec tractor, and then these got obviously replaced by the 300 series, and the 500 series got replaced by the 600 series. But yeah, these were built in Banner Lane, and they were originally just launched to be a very simple, basic tractor that would do very simple jobs, really. And they do make good yard tractors. So for straw chopping, like what we use this one for, it's perfect for it. It's not overpowered for it, it's not underpowered, it's perfect size for that straw chopper. But when it originally came, it spent many of its early years carting grass silage when we used to have a silage clamp, and it used to mow. We used to have a 3-drum class trailed mower, and I've got some old photos of when this tractor was actually mowing with that. I think what we'll have to do is, because there's some old photos of this carting grass as well, with like a 6-7 ton silage trailer. So I think what we'll have to do is we'll have to do a separate video on old photos of tractors that have been here over the years, and you know, if anyone wants to see that, let me know and we'll do a video on it. But could make a very interesting video to see what tractors that we've still got now did before, and what they do now, and what tractors have come and gone, which are no longer here anymore, which have been replaced. But I think I'll leave this video here for now. So the 265, this one, it was been here since it was about 5 or 6 years old, roughly. It came off a dairy farmer, local. It's always been a local tractor, this. It's got the wide tyres on it, makes it a lot better tractor in my opinion, rather than the big, tall, narrow tyres. But it's been here most of its life, and it's been a very good tractor. It's just if you're wanting a very simple, basic tractor, the 265 is for you, because they probably make a very good yard tractor. Well, our one does. And yeah, if you're in the market for a 60 horsepower simple tractor, look at a 265, because they're not silly money either. I've seen a few advertised for sale recently, and they're not silly money, but I think they are going up in value. So if you want one, go and get one now before they go out of control, before they go silly money. But I'll leave it here for now. So if you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe below, and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.